Hey guys, just finished the batch of comics. Well, actually, I finished them earlier in the week, but we're talk about them Sunday because I think that's when I'm going to do the recording. Interesting week. Um, some disappointments and some absolute gems. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. So first off, the bottom of the barrel for me was very disappointing. Absolutely love Ruby. I think it's one of the best things Rooster Teeth has done. Um, this book did absolutely nothing to enhance the story at all. It did give us a very clear look at Summer Rose, which we've not had prior to this, but it doesn't really add anything to the story. It doesn't add a new chapter. There's no nuance. There's nothing really to recommend it to me. Um, it takes place between the fall of Beacon and Team Ranger going off to seek the relics. Now, if you don't know about the fall of Beacon and looking for the relics at this point and you're a Ruby fan, got nothing for you. That's been years ago. You should know by now. So, anyway, um, it left me so disappointed that I'm not even going to give it a chance. I'll continue to watch the show, which has done nothing but be excellent since it began and done nothing but improve. So hats off to the guys at Rooster Teeth for what they do, but didn't love this. Not going to continue it. Superman, The Return of the Super Sons, Damian Wayne Robin, and John Kent Superboy. The story arc that's been going on in Superman recently is that John Kent went off with a resurrected Jor-El. There's a whole big thing there. By this point, I'm going to assume that you know because it's been going on a while. Um, he was trapped on an alternate Earth uh, where he was for several years, and in that time period, he aged up to be a teenager, at least 16 years old, with all the resulting trauma when he gets back with his parents, which was absolutely beautiful, absolutely hilarious. This is his first meeting with Damian Wayne since he came back, and I've never seen any interaction between them, or at least not very much. And I just the change of personality that comes over Damian Wayne. In every other book, he's scary little turd, is what he is. Arrogant, cocksure, um, mean in cases. The grandson of Ra's al Ghul, the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. Of course, he's going to be these things. But his personality change when he's around Jonathan Kent, it was so different that it was jarring. And I don't know. Like I said, I've not seen these two together. Maybe this is how he is when he's with Jonathan Kent. I didn't really buy it. It was just too much of a big change for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Hope I am. But again, this one just left me a little bit displeased, a little bit unsatisfied. It ends with John Kent going off to join the Legion of Superheroes a thousand years in the future, which is going to be the next book that DC and Bendis put out, the Legion of Superheroes. Never been a Legion fan, probably not going to follow that one, even though I do love Bendis quite a lot. Real mixed bag on this one. And I hate it. I hate it that it's a mixed bag. Can you guess which one it is? I wanted this to rock so hard because everybody knows I am a straight up total. Well, Harry Frank called me a fanboy, but it goes deeper than that. It's kind of horrible to say, but Doom is actually a character who I have. See, at the risk of making myself sound like a monster, there's a lot of qualities in Doom that I admire. Um, and you do see some of that. It starts off with Doom being interviewed by a news channel to give his opinion on this project that's been built by, from what they say, technology contributed by Reed Richards and Tony Stark. And the announcers suggest that the reason that Doom is protesting against this project is because he was not included in the project. The project is summarily destroyed. Latveria gets all the blame. And it ends with Doom basically Latveria being invaded by pretty much Europe, all of it, and being attacked by a couple of European superheroes. He trounces them pretty easily, but he surrenders. He had basically left instructions with his government and with the Latvian superhero Victoria. No, Victory, if I remember correctly. I might be saying it wrong. For her to assume power and for Latveria to surrender to Europe. Basically, it's frame up. Somebody wants to make Doom look horrible. Of course, he's Doom. He doesn't have to have a whole lot of help to look horrible. My main complaint with this was, let me do this in reverse order. Let me say what I liked about it. In some regards, it was very much Doom being Doom. He didn't do the bombastic third person Doom will destroy you thing, which I personally hate, because the character is so much more than that. But there was a flippancy to him, and some vocabulary and vernacular that I just don't see Doom using ever. So it was just kind of jarring. Left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. His willingness to go his own way at all costs, that is very much Doom. His desire to put Latveria first above all else, and its safety of its citizens and the welfare of its people above all else, that is very much in keeping with Doom. There is a nice little moment. It kind of harkens back to, I'm going to say it again, Bendis' run on Infamous Iron Man, where I don't know if we're seeing Doom imagining what his life might have been if he had not become Doctor Doom, or if it's maybe an alternate reality, because that's a distinct possibility with what we're messing around with the project. I'm not going to give too much away. How his life might have been if his life had taken a different path. I'll keep it real simple, but I'll just say wife, kids. I'm going to continue this one. I want to see what they do with it. I hope it gets better. It's not bad, but it's not exactly what I want either. So we'll see what happens with this one. This was a very interesting one. We're getting into the good ones now. This is Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis. And what I really find interesting about this one is we get to see Batman's forensic process. There's been a murder. A man is found dead in his apartment. Batman has a sort of a holodeck sort of a thing. He basically scans the entire apartment. And there's a nice bit with Alfred where Alfred basically is sitting at Wayne Manor. He's sitting on the couch. There's an open bottle of what I presume to be scotch sitting in front of him. And he and Alfred have a little moment where it's what I would imagine was often the case. Alfred is basically worried. One day he's going to fill Batman's grave. They have a moment where they talk about Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne. They had their grave sites prepared years earlier because they loved Wayne Manor so much they wished to be buried on the grounds. And they also prepared a place for Bruce, and it's just waiting to be filled. And Alfred's fear is that one night he's going to fill that grave. He's, cracking wise with Batman a little bit, with a little bit of gallows humor. We see Batman's forensic process, as I said, and as he explains it to Alfred, he can't put himself in the mind of the attacker, the murderer. He can only place himself in the position of the victim. And that speaks volumes about Bruce Wayne's psyche, and his how scarred it must be. He's arguably probably the walking poster child of post-traumatic stress disorder. Kevin Conroy said something in an interview that just has always struck me as absolutely brilliant. His belief on the evolution of Bruce Wayne into Batman was that, for all intents and purposes, Bruce Wayne died in the alley with his parents that night, and Batman was born. That who he really is Batman, and that Bruce Wayne is the mask that he wears to function in normal society. We get a little bit of that in this. I really like this. Highly recommend it. We'll see where this goes from here. I will be continuing this one. The conclusion to Hickman's Powers of X sees Hickman filling in some of the holes, revealing some secrets that prior to this we have all wondered about. Alexi Vandenberg and I have sat, talked about what if, could it be this, could it be that. I didn't see this coming. Not in a million years did I see this coming. Maybe I should have, but I definitely did not. Spoilers. The 10 lives that we've seen Moira McTaggart live up to this point, we've seen the conclusion of each one of them. Except for number 6. Number 6 was always left sort of blank, and it was always in the back of your mind. Something significant happened. The 6th life that she leads for well over 1,000 years. And at the end of it, she sees the ultimate fate of mutantdom, humanity, all of it. And from that one life, she knows pretty much what she has to do. All the lives that take place after that, they're all dedicated to the survival of mutantdom, which at the end of this book, we seem to have achieved. We have the mutant nation of Krakoa, recognized by the United Nations. We have a means of repopulating the mutant species, and the indefinite prolongation of mutant life. It would seem that they're holding all the cards. Now, that being said, Hickman leaves the door open for gigantic spanners to be thrown in the works, which is where I think we're going to go with the series that are about to branch out from this new reality that Hickman has created. Absolutely brilliant book. Hickman is, a master of literary sleight of hand. He makes you look over here at the bright shining object, and the whole time he's doing something over here that you never see until the last second. He is going to have 2 spin-off books coming out of this that he's going to be writing personally. I'm probably going to, almost definitely going to follow both of those. He is, to quote Juliet, he's rapidly becoming the god of my idolatry. I'm not sure about the other 4 books, I believe it is. We'll see what happens with those. Really looking forward to see where this goes from here. And lastly, the unexpected jewel, the pearl and the oyster. Absolutely loved every moment of this book. This is Once and Future by Kieron, if I'm pronouncing that right, Gillen. We have this nice lady right here who's living in a retirement home in England. She wanders away. She calls her grandson in the middle of an absolutely disastrous date, which both he and his date are more than happy to have the excuse to get out of. And he finds his gran in the middle of the woods, and he helps her open this little secret compartment, this little cache in the middle of the woods, and it's filled to the gills with weapons. modern and archaic. They're immediately attacked by the questing beast. And his grand, tells him, okay, frighten it off, but don't chase it. Don't chase it. Anybody who chases that thing, well, they're just completely useless after that. Poor deers. The grandson is, of course, losing his marbles. Questing beast. Gran used to hunt vampires. She wouldn't even let him watch cartoons because she said it was nonsense. And she says to him, a lovely little line, there's plenty of stuff that's nonsense. That doesn't mean it's not real. It starts with someone finding a scabbard at the bottom of a lake. There's been a bad drought, which has allowed for the lake to dry, which has allowed for excavation of the lake, and the scabbard is dated sometime around 6th century AD, CE, whichever flavor of that you prefer. Now, if you are in any way steeped in Arthurian lore, you automatically know exactly whose scabbard that was. The archaeologists are immediately killed, and the scabbard is taken. The grandmother, when she hears about this on the news, goes off to get into her weapons cache. And then she basically demands that her grandson drive her to Glastonbury. Again, if you know anything about Arthurian legend, Glastonbury revolves around Arthurian legend. When the grandson refuses, she basically sends a bullet blitzing past his ear and takes part of his earlobe off. She says, "Sorry, I meant to just graze you. My hands aren't my hands are a little shaky these days." And the grandson is, of course, like anyone else would be, "You shot me." It ends with her basically speaking of the prophecy of Arthur's return. In Britain's darkest hour, Arthur is supposed to return. The grandmother presents something that I've never considered before, but it makes perfect sense. She asks the question, does Arthur's return herald a champion returning to fight against the darkness? Or does Arthur's return herald the coming of the darkness? And it ends with the people who stole the scabbard, one of whom is a very attractive woman who recognized the scabbard on sight, in a tomb with a sepulcher with a sleeping king upon it. I'll bet what money I've got in my pocket that woman is Morgan Le Fay. Possibly Morgause, depending on how, which version of the story that we're telling. This was an absolute pleasure. And I'm an Arthur nut to begin with, so this made everything worth it. Definitely going to continue this. Can't urge you to check this book out enough. By this point, we're probably heading for issue 3 because I picked this one up late. I saw issue 2, saw the title, was intrigued, got my local comic book supplier, Blue Ox Games, to get me a back issue. I've already told them, continue this one. I need issue 2. I need issue 3. Again, absolutely gorgeous book. All right. Still kind of winging it at this point. Again, hopefully I can get some free time. I just started the new job. Absolutely killing me inches at a time, but it's good. I'm actually enjoying it. And I hope to get this better, more sophisticated as time goes by. For now, that's what I've got. Hope you enjoyed listening. Hope you like the recommendations. Thanks and have a good one.